Hey everybody, so I want to talk about a team that had a very, very bad start to the season, but appears to be maybe showing signs of a bit of a turnaround here, and that is the Dallas Stars. Before we get into the video, I just quickly want to say that if you're not yet a subscriber to this channel, please hit that subscribe button down below and follow along for all my hockey content this season. And everyone, please give this video a thumbs up and hit that like button. That greatly helps out the channel and would be certainly appreciated. So let's get into it here. The Dallas Stars, really, really brutal start to the season for a team that had high expectations, expected to be a contending team in the Western Conference. Really started the year off poorly. I've talked about them in previous videos, the Panic Meter video, and some other ones before that. They were a team off to a really bad start. But they've really started to turn things around here the last couple weeks. They're showing signs of life. They've brought their record back to 7-8-1 on the season, which obviously is still under 500 and not great, but miles better than where it was a couple of weeks ago. They've won 6 of their last 8 games, including their last 3. They're currently on a 3-game winning streak. And heading forward, they've got a decent amount of time off coming up. They've got a game tomorrow night against a tough team in Colorado for sure. Then they've got 4 days off, and then they go on a Western Canadian road trip. And this road trip coming up is going to be, I think, really important for this Dallas Stars team. Because if they lose, they've got 4 games at Winnipeg, at Calgary, at Vancouver, and at Edmonton. If they lose a bunch of those games, they're going to be right back in the hole that they dug themselves to start the year. If they can come out and go 2-2 or 3-1, or 4-0 obviously would be unreal. But if they can go 2-2 or 3-1 on that road trip, then you're going to really see Dallas pull themselves right back into playoff contention. And everything that we said earlier this year will have been a huge overreaction. So the issues early for Dallas has been their goal scoring, and the biggest thing has been that their star players have not been their star players. Roope Hintz continues to lead the team in points with 11. Tyler Seguin, Alex Radulov, Joe Pavelski, Jamie Benn all got off to really, really bad starts this year. They were not playing well. Lately, they've started to put things together a little bit and turn things around. Now, Jamie Benn still only has 6 points in 16 games, and that is not a good sign. However, Pavelski, who started the year off horribly, I think with only 3 points in his first 10 or 11 games, now has 8 points on the year. He's got 3 goals and 5 assists, and he's starting to pick up his play a little bit. Radulov had a hat trick last week, and he's got 5 goals now on the season after a really slow start from him. He's got 9 points. Tyler Seguin's up to 10 points with 3 goals and 7 assists. We're starting to see this team put it together and turn it around, and the top players, their superstar players, who all got off to terrible starts, are starting to put points on the board, starting to get it together, and we're seeing this team start to win some games. And now goaltending has not been an issue at all. Both Ben Bishop and Anton Khudobin have very good numbers. Their save percentages are fine. Their goals against average, both are under 2.5 goals per game given up. So their goaltending's been fine. That was not the issue. The issue was this team wasn't scoring. This team had no offense. Now the offense is starting to come in, and so are the wins. And that's a good sign for the Dallas Stars. So, the media, those of us online, we like to overreact both ways to good and bad starts in the season because we need content. We need stuff to talk about. So when a team gets off to a really bad start, especially when they were expected to be good, everyone tends to overreact to that and take it way harder than it actually means. Your season's not over after 10 games. Last time I checked, every team plays 82 games. So even if you have a bad, you go 3-7 in your first 10 games, you have 72 more games to make that up. We all overreact to bad starts. We all overreact to good starts as well. If a team comes out and, wins 9 of their first 10 games, we're like, wow, they're going to the Stanley Cup. It's like, let's chill out for a second. There's still 5 or 6 more months of the season to go. We overreact both ways, and I think a lot of us overreacted to the Dallas Stars' bad start. And not that we counted them out, because I think most of us are rational enough to know that the season doesn't end in October, But we were like getting really worried about it, and we were, making a big deal about how awful they were to start the season, and they were awful. Dallas looked awful to start this year. There's no doubt about it. There's no sugarcoating that. But now look, the past 2 weeks, they've put some wins together. They've won 6 out of 8 games. They're getting back into it points-wise. They're currently only, I think, 3 points out of a wild card spot. Yeah, they're only 3 points out of a wild card spot right now. Like, the season doesn't end in October. Teams have time to get it going. So Dallas has done that, and they're a great example of a team that has a bad first few weeks and then starts to get things headed in the right direction. There's another team in the Western Conference that I should mention that needs to pull a Dallas Stars and start doing it now, and that is the San Jose Sharks, who currently sit dead last in the Western Conference with a 4-10-1 record, 9 points on the year. Dead last in the Western Conference. Again, they've only played 15 games. There's a lot of season left to go. There's a long way to go. They got to start turning things around, though. You can't dig yourself a huge hole and still be, near the bottom of the league at Christmas and expect to turn it around and be a playoff team. Listen, yes, we know what St. Louis did last year. That's very rare. That doesn't happen often. Just because St. Louis did it last year doesn't mean that we're going to see a team do it every single season. It's not realistic. It's not going to happen. The St. Louis's turnaround last year was remarkable, and something that you don't see very often. Only happens, certainly, I don't even know the last time I've seen a turnaround like that, where a team was dead last in the conference in January and ended up making the playoffs and going on to win the cup. It just doesn't happen. It happened once, and now everyone thinks, all these teams are just going to pull a St. Louis. No, that's not how it works. You're not going to see a team pull a St. Louis every year because that's rare what happened. So San Jose needs to get things going because Dallas has shown that you can do that. San Jose needs to now pull a Dallas Stars. But this video is more about the Stars and the Sharks. I just want to point out that if San Jose is going to do it, they need to start doing it. Dallas has shown that you can do it because they were in really, really tough shape after the first 2-3 weeks of the season. And now, at the beginning of November, we're looking at a 7-8-1 team, 3 points out of a playoff spot that certainly has the talent and the roster to end up being that top 3 Central Division team that I think a lot of people thought they would be going into the season. Certainly at least a wild card team. They absolutely have the chance to be a wild card team without a doubt. And they should be. I think the Dallas Stars should make the playoffs this year. So they've started to turn it around. They're starting to play better. They're scoring goals. Their star players are playing better. Their goaltending's been good pretty much all season long. Now the team in front of the goalies is starting to play well. So Dallas, I think you're going to see themselves keep pulling themselves up in the standings and get closer to being the team that we all thought they would be heading into this year. So with that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description below. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon and merchandise store are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.